No, not you, her. She was laughing at me because I yelled at you. I said,
You yelled at me.
yeah, I said, Bill, get your butt back in the chair.
See, that's why I put my hearing aids on.
I think I'm not loving my can, and one of the reasons I'm not is tilted. And I wonder if I have my little tools. You guys get a kick out of if I can find it. Too neat.
Why should you be any different than the rest of us?
Oh, look, I found a brush. But what I have used, check here. So I'm just gonna improvise. What I have used is the edge of a credit card. Do you guys ever do that? You take a credit card, well, maybe those fake credit cards that you get in the mail, and then you put it right up against what you want to paint, and, okay, I can use this. So, if this was a little smaller, so I can put this right here, right? And I can make a straight line, and then I just wipe the credit card. So this is bugging me, so what I'm gonna do is just put this and try to fix this. I can't stand looking at it anymore. I just cannot. So if I paint right on top of that with this background color, let's see if that helps me a little bit. Brings it in, and I have to fix this down here. So, not quite. Still not right. Maybe I should use the gray. I'm not gonna be happy as long as that's not straight. Okay.
Yeah, when I'm taking pictures, I have to have a
So that's a little,
straight
it's
horizon.
still a little tipsy, but it's a little better. But it's a wonderful little thing that you can bring with you. A little, if you're painting and you can turn it, whichever side you need, but especially if you're painting buildings, like and you wanna just get the eve of the house, you turn the credit card and then you put your color on and you pick the credit card up and you get a nice crisp edge. It's a fun little thing to have with you.
Easy to clean.
Yeah, and then you just wipe it off and throw it in there. So, all right, so I think what I want to do now is I want to put in some of these beautiful pinks. And I'm going to start again with the darker pinks, not the bright. And I'm not really too concerned about how much of that like white I get. I don't really care about it that much. So let's see what I can get here.
Mary, do you give workshops?
I teach just generally at my studio, and I'll go and do a workshop if someone asks me, but mostly. So again, I'm checking this. There are a few dark spaces. So where are my darkest flowers? Well, I see like down here, here, down here, right here, over here. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of this. Start to shape those flowers. I'm squinting, I'm like, okay. This obviously is very dark right here in the middle. So I'm gonna make something else for that. Oh, and one thing that you probably all know too, is that you can't really like lighten a color to make it be the color you need. You mostly need to make a new color. You say, oh, well, I have a darker pink over here and lighter pink over here. You don't just add white to the red. you mix a new color, and that way your color stays strong as you're working. So this, that's kind of grayed down. I'm just gonna put that center in this guy right here. That's that. I am gonna take a little bit of this that I already have, add a little more of this brighter. I might even add a little yellow and see what happens to get this pink tone. You know, oftentimes you use a little bit of a compliment just to knock it down a little bit. So I just put a little bit of that green in there. Ah, this is what I want. That cat green light. So I'm gonna add this. So I want to transition on these tulips from light to dark. Oh, got this guy. Okay, didn't I? But see, now that I have the oils all mixed, I can go back in and fill in some of these areas that I forgot. That I'm like, oh yeah, that goes there.
So Mary, if you were working with a larger canvas, would you use like a fan brush or a 2-inch brush?
I might use, like, I'll use about this big.
Okay.
And maybe a little bigger than that, but I don't use a fan brush ever. Cause I like this fat stroke. I like to put a lot of color down at once. I'm gonna make something up right here because of the way I drew this. I'm gonna just put this guy over on this backside. It's still a little darker. But can you know, you see how I'm like, these strokes are the flat side of the brush? I'm not like nudging it around. I don't know how else you wanna, how else I can describe it, but I tend not to fuss.
I would imagine if you mushed it around too much, it would start to get muddy looking.
Oh, very muddy, very, very muddy. Let's see if I'm missing anything. But, you know, there's a very simple thing that's happening here. It's complementary colors, right? So, of course, these pinks are gonna start to move forward and vibrate against the greens. And so if I was gonna keep working on this, you know, I'd really push that. And the other thing, you know, you can do is, you know, maybe I'm gonna just take the end of my brush and kinda just go right into those tulips. Why not, right? I can do a little drawing with them. But I don't wanna do that too much yet because I wanna fill in these other couple of areas.
So you don't use a fine tip brush to do something like that, you use the end of your,
I just use the end of my brush or, oh my goodness,
That's,
oh my god, I didn't notice what I was
sign of a good painter, when they get it all over themselves.
you want me to get some more, cloth for you?
Oh, no, I'm okay, I just wanted to get it off so I don't get it on my sweater. Cause you know what happens, it's always, all your paint is always on all your clothes, no matter what you do. I come home and I'll say to my husband,
Yeah.
I have paint on my new pants, and he always says, of course you do. I ruined them. Fill in some of these.
Did you mention to everybody about the shirts?
Oh, what?
Oh, no, not tonight.
No?
She put it in the email.
Oh, okay. Because I was just thinking that when I go paint, I first of all put on all old clothes to paint and junk stuff. You see me even coming down here with junk stuff, right? And I had all these shirts, I had a ton of them, and
And you get rid of them.
so I had a few of them, had a little bit of paint on them, some rips or small tears and stuff. I gave to her 'cause she's doing that. What is that again?
I work at an assisted living and they want me to do like painting and arts and crafty things
Awesome.
with them.
Okay, so it's nice to give them the old shirts too.
Where?
Benchmark up in
Oh,
Danvers.
oh,
But,
yeah, yeah.
Benchmark is right next to
Where's that?
Bradley. Brad.
It's okay, I was up at Tewksbury, so.
With the lights out today? With all the lights
No,
out
no,
today?
no.
No,
No,
he
years
needs
ago I
Tewksbury
was.
State Hospital.
Oh, Tewksbury City as well. It's up high too, so you can be able to catch some great landscapes up there too. There's some great landscapes you can see from there too.
Are you gonna use white at all to make the lighter white? Or I remember you were saying that you were gonna mix a couple different colors together, but not just white.
Excuse me, to put where?
You mean the rim of the
No,
tulips?
the white, the lighter colors and the
Tulip?
tulips.
Oh, yeah, I'm just kind of finishing up here. I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying, yep. Just gonna cool down a few of these leaves a little bit. So, if I wanna go back in with those whites, like you were just asking, I just put my brush right in there. And I could just kinda go back in and draw with them. I think it's kind of fun. I do this when I'm out at the marshes a lot. I'll go in and draw the grasses like this instead of, trying to paint.
You can use your palette knife too, though.
Yeah, I could, but I, you know, I like,
That looks like it would be much easier than trying to do it with a palette knife.
yeah, yeah.
And it really adds that
It adds
third
that
dimension.
little bit, right?
That dimension to it.
Right, right, so, let's see. Let's say right there, that edge of that, the edge of that flower, it might really warrant using the palette knife, let's see. If we take a little bit of this and just kind of, it's not quite. I almost prefer the drawn, but, you know, palette knife works too. So, let's see. So if I was gonna work more on this, I think, I might go back in with the palette knife. I might wait till it's dry and just add some. See what's so fun about the palette knife? Like, oh, it's just so good. You know, look what's happening with that addition of that thick paint.
Makes it pop right out.
It
Sounds
does,
like
yeah.
it's 3D.
Yep. So.
Makes it literally come off the canvas.
Right. You can get such great value changes too. So I think I'm probably gonna just wrap this up. And that'll be good for tonight, because it's
So-
getting pretty wet.
You'd wait to work on this after it's dry again?
Right, if I decided that I wanted to at all, you know, I might just say, I'm good, that's all I wanna do with it. You know, I think that every time you sit down to paint, you learn something else, you decide what you're gonna do the next time. Same thing, I'm sure, when you do your photography, you know, you say, next time, maybe I'd try this or I'd try that. The thing about this is we're kind of painting in the dark a little bit, so turn it to the light. It's a little brighter than, you know, maybe it looked as I was painting. 'Cause I try to paint with my light source on whatever I'm looking at, but also that I have enough light so I can see my colors. Like, I feel like this looks a little grayed down in here,
On the left side?
and I'm wondering if it's because of,
Yeah.
I was kinda in shadow the whole time.
Yeah.
But, you know, all in all, I'm satisfied that there's some value changes, there's some color changes, and, you know, for talking and painting and for an hour and a half, you know, I'm okay with that. And, you know, if I was in my studio, I might work this a little differently, you know, might have spent more time drawing,
What
for
way,
sure.
what way of thinking would you go in this? To add more darks, more lights, more, you said drawing and this and that.
Yeah.
But as far as the painting end of it goes.
What else would I do?
What would you consider?
I think I would maybe, I might even simplify it more and lose some of the edges in the leaves. I might even do that. Because, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I mean, what would happen if I tried that, you know?
And so you're thinking in the sharpening areas where you want your eye to go.
Mhm.
So you're thinking of maybe focusing some areas on that, and let the
Right.
eye settle in one place.
Right, so if I said, okay, I'm gonna just really let all that green become one mass,
Uh-huh.
and then brighten up those tulips, you know, maybe even change the color.
Tulips?
Uh-huh. What if I decided I wanted them to be yellow or purple? You know, when you're working in your studio, you can do that. You can just say, you know, I'm gonna change the whole thing.
You can work on a digital studio and change color too.
Right, so, you know,
I
those
find
might,
certain colors do not photograph well.
that's right.
Blues.
No, I'm thinking
Some.
more like magentas and.
They don't?
Really?
Certain,
Magenta?
yeah,
Yeah?
and, I tend to just make them red.
Okay.
Mhm.
I paint them with the overlay brush and then I change the color and make them red.
Now, photography
looks-
is taken from art, as you know.
Of course it is.
And when we paint or something like that, like what Mary and I were just talking about, is putting some things out of focus. And we can do that easily with the brush by not making it so sharp. Make your eye go exactly where we want it to go, which is more difficult in photography to do, okay? I mean, you can keep certain things in focus if it's a field of focus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And-
depends on
Or
how
if you use a
close you
filter,
are
yeah,
to your
exactly.
subject,
Yeah,
on what
exactly.
lens you're using.
Right.
You can make your background totally soft if you want.
Well, usually you want to do with portrait, stuff like that, or even maybe something like this too.
flowers.
On flowers, okay. But you can't talk to her about flowers, she's, you gotta see her site in it too.
Photography is light management.
Yeah, well, art is too.
Yeah.
That's
The
why
art
I'm saying
came
there's a lot of
first, so.
familiarities
Yeah.
with both, and understanding both photography and art. So, and I know I've learned a lot from both myself personally, so it's something that, it's nice. I love how you situated that too for a composition and things, so you did a real nice job on that. Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
You never put anything smack dab in the middle.
Yeah, well, sometimes you do.
Depends on what it is
You
and what the
never put
format
what?
is. Smack dab in the middle. You don't usually.
Well, you know, you don't usually, but you know, when you look at a lot of painters, I was looking at a Matisse the other day, he had a vase of flowers on a table, it was right down the middle.
Yeah.
You know, it just, you know, I thought the same
But-
thing.
But it wasn't symmetrical, was it? The right side and the left side, the flowers were
It
different.
wasn't, no, it wasn't exactly
Non-
symmetrical, but.
Non-objective abstract, you find stuff like that,
Non-objective, huh?
yeah. Because objective abstract abstract or all art tells a story,
Yeah.
it's something.
Oh, yeah.
Non-objective abstract is nothing, it's like the red square in the middle of the paper, or that time the guy just left a white canvas, say, why should I prostitute this canvas? And he sold it for $3,000, and this was back in the 60s. Okay, that's non-objective abstract. Or a monkey, or an elephant.
That's ridiculous is what that is.
They can't add anything, but,
Yeah, you got it
Good
right.
salesman.
hey, I'll tell you a great salesman. A great salesman was Picasso,
So how do you?
who could paint at 12 years old, the stuff he could do at 12 years old was fantastic. He took everybody, including the time when he was in the restaurant, remember the 3 dancing girls? And some guy wanted his autograph, so he painted 3 dancing girls on a napkin and gave it to him. You know what that's worth these days? Because marketing, he knew marketing, that's why he started using Brock, was it, and stuff, so. You know history too.
Yeah, somebody sent Picasso a check for like $100 in the mail and said, do anything. This was before he was really huge.
Is this just
And he just sketched the devil on the back of it, you know, go to hell, just sketched the devil on the back, sent the check back. And the guy turned around and sold it for like 12 grand.
Yeah.
Because it came out of Picasso's hand and it was, you know,
Picasso did some great things when he was thinking, because he was an artist to begin with, like Genevieve, okay? That was about the Civil War in Spain and this and that. And he did some great stuff in his own, but he decided to, because modern art was brand new and a lot of the other stuff, abstractness, he decided to come out with his own, which is fantastic. Then again, what's his name? Saturday Night Post.
Rockwell.
Rockwell, okay? That was his commercial work that he did during the, and that was not art to him. When he started doing art, nobody liked his artwork. Well, I think he sold 1 or 2, but that was it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just people don't know real art.
Oh, you're never famous until you're dead.